This segment is brought to you in part by Current. Manage your money your way.
It's Wednesday. We like to talk about money, and everyone seems to be talking about the Netflix series Squid Game, topping the charts on Netflix.
지금 이 자리에 계신 여러분들은 모두 감당할 수 없는 빚을 지고 삶의 벼랑 끝에 서 계신 분들입니다.
I mean, nefarious music, those outfits, the jumpsuit. This show is about a group of people all in debt who agree to play a series of children's games in the hopes of winning millions of dollars and presumably solving all their money problems. But to do so, they have to risk everything, including their lives. And there is so much to learn about Squid Game, about the universal problem of being buried in debt and feeling hopeless. Let's talk more about that and some ways to handle debt from certified financial planner Bobbi Rebell, personal finance expert at Tally. Good to see you this morning. I mean, that show, huh?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me and for covering this important topic. And Squid Game has a lot to talk about, but if we can also use it as a platform to start talking about debt and how real it is and how desperate people are, that's great too.
I think it's absolutely true and relevant because I think the best way to put a focus on something is borrow something from pop culture. So what are the biggest financial takeaways from Squid Game?
Well, you really talked about it in the introduction, and that is how hopeless and desperate people are when they are so deeply in debt that they are willing to risk their own lives and, in some cases, the lives of others just for the hope, the possibility of getting out of debt. More people face debt really than you realize. When the characters get into this dorm room to get ready to play this game, they look around and they're all surprised because around them are people they never thought were in debt.
Right.
So, for example, the main character is a chauffeur and a gambler, but you have an investment banker, a doctor, you have someone who's an immigrant trying to get her family into the country, and so on. So it's a lot more common than we think.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. And, you know, given the focus on debt, what are strategies to get started so people can take control of their debt?
Well, these characters have let their debt get completely out of control, and they're not doing anything specific and proactive to do it. They're not realistic about what it's going to take to get out of debt. They're looking for the quick fix. So be realistic. Don't just go buy a lottery ticket. You can do that for fun, but it's probably not going to work. And then it's important to actually know what the problem is. Start by listing all your debts and work from there, because if you don't know how big the problem is, you're not going to solve it. And odds are seeing it in front of you is going to help a lot. Then actually make a plan.
Right.
And the best plan is the one that works for you. It might be the avalanche where you're paying the most expensive debt first because you have the highest interest rate. It might be one where you feel a sense of accomplishment because you're paying off a whole credit card bill, even though it's your smallest bill. That's the snowball where you kind of build up to bigger and bigger bills. You need to do what works for you.
Right. I love that key phrase, do what works for you, because some people will say the one with the highest interest, the other one will say, no, I need to feel a sense of accomplishment and let me do the smaller one. So yes, thank you for reminding us, do what works for you. The other thing you say that's important to do when you're trying to get out of debt is automate payments. Why is that? Because I'm kind of on the fence about that.
I think it's really important to automate payments because then you're not going to find another use for the money. There's always something happening, especially with the holidays coming up. So if that money comes out first, you need to proactively go in there ahead of time and stop it. And we're busy. So odds are we're not going to do that. So it's going to keep you on track, especially in this season. And also remember, the worst thing you can do for your credit score, which is going to give you your interest rate, is to be late with a bill. So you never want to do that. I also want to remind people, we have amazing tools. I mean, yes, a piece of paper is great, but we also have technology. So use whatever apps work for you to pay down your debt.
Okay, fine. I'll automate everything, because you told me to.
Automate everything.
So this time of year, we've been talking about the holidays. That always gets people into debt. And now there's pressure to buy now because of this potential scarcity of items. What is your advice for that?
I love that you brought this up because it is something we are all talking about. We used to say, play the game, look for the best deal. Now we're saying, if you want it, get it now. But I'm urging people, don't fall too much for the FOMO. If there is one thing that you really want for someone and you know they want that one thing, okay, go get that item, pay, a reasonably, probably somewhat inflated price, but do it for that 1 or 2 items. But the truth is, most people just want to know that you care about them and that you thought of them. So you can go out and buy a gift card to a place where they can get that item, or maybe a gift card that's more generic. And they can then use that, knowing that they have the money from you, maybe combine it with somebody else's gift to get the gift they really want. They can order it. It'll get there when it gets there, but you gave them your present and you stuck to your budget. And that way you can spend exactly the amount of money that's right for your budget.
You are always wise with your financial tips. I appreciate the time. Always wonderful to see you. Thank you, Bobbi.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on.
Of course, and you can get more money-saving tips by going to BobbiRebell.com and subscribing to her newsletter and checking out her podcast. It's fantastic. Money tips for financial grown-ups. I'm still working on being a financial grown-up, but that's why we have you on our show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bobbi.